So yeah, I'm from Michigan. I'm just gonna get straight into it. I've been saved from a lot of things. Drug addiction being the biggest one. Greed for money. Deception by the enemy. My story starts in Saginaw, Michigan. It's a small city, probably about an hour and a half north of Detroit. That's where I was born and raised at. Come from a family full of drug dealers, domestic violence, no marriage, no graduation, no high school, no businesses, no church, no Jesus. I wasn't raised in the church. Nobody in my family, whether it be on my mom's side or my dad's side, went to church, prayed, read a Bible, talked about Jesus. Experienced a lot of death in my family as a kid. 3 of my dad's brothers got violently murdered there in Saginaw. One of my mom's brothers. So those types of things in our home and in our family, even though they were not normal, they were normal to us as kids. I didn't see it on the TV. Listened to a lot of gangster rap as a kid in the 80s. But seeing the funerals and my dad crying at my uncle's casket, and those things were like etched into my mind as a kid. And the crazy thing about it is that it didn't deter us. It didn't make me think like, I don't want that. And the devil has such a tight grip on my family and me and my 2 brothers that we actually gravitated towards it. It's like the drug dealing was the family business. Carrying guns was normal. Getting into fights and shootouts and drinking and trying to get intoxicated as a kid. I share this with my family sometimes. Growing up in Saginaw and the environment that we grew up in, it was like as a kid, that's what I was looking forward to. I wasn't looking forward to school or graduating. It was like, I want to get high. Like I started smoking weed when I was 9 years old. And I remember still to this day, like just the feeling of just being a 9-year-old kid. And right now my youngest is 10, and I look at him like, I couldn't imagine him sitting there, and I'm talking like smoking at 9. At 11, I met my wife. You could put that first picture up, brother. I met her when I was 11 and she was 12. We're a little bit older in this picture, but this is before our first kid. We had our first kid at 14 and 15. I was 14, she was 15. And at that time, I was heavily involved in a gang. I was breaking into houses. I was skipping school. It was a time in my life where I had no direction. There was no talk of graduating. There was no talk of what high school I was going to go to. But when I met her, it was I knew that she was special. I'll just say that. And then when she got pregnant, I was like, oh shoot, more special than I thought. Because I know at 14 and 15 that wasn't. I won't say standing here today that it wasn't part of God's plan for us, because I do believe that. But in the natural, it was like, okay. So 14, 15, our first kid. By the time I was 17 and she was 18, we had 3 kids. And we moved out of my mom's house after she had lost her mom in a tragic car accident. We moved out of my mom's house, had our own apartment, 3 kids. I started selling crack when I was 17. And that's, school was done. School was out of the picture. We both had dropped out. We tried. We both tried. I even remember walking over, we were walking over a train bridge to get to school, me and her. It was I wouldn't say, well, I guess I'm going to say it. It was one of those schools for the kids who got kicked out, like the bad kids school. Like that's what it was called. And that's what everybody called it. But they accepted us. And so we tried. But after her mom passed away, and with 3 kids, my son was starting preschool. So instead of taking myself to school, which I should have been doing at that age, we were dropping our son off at preschool. And so I started selling crack my 18th birthday. I started sniffing powder cocaine for the first time. I tried it, and I didn't stop. Like my uncle, in fact, it was one of my uncles. He would always ask me, all the older guys. I was always around older family members, older friends who all did it. And I always remember for years, like, I'm smoking, I'm drinking, but y'all tripping. Like, I would see how they would look and see how they would act and see how they would talk and the plates and just everything, right? Up all night, daylight, 2-3 days at a time. And I would always say, like, man, I'm never doing that. Like, that's for y'all. But on my 18th birthday, I gave in, and it didn't stop for like 21 years after that. 21 straight years, that's what I did. I hustled, I sold it, I used it, day in and day out. During this time, I'm rapping for the world, doing worldly music. You can go to that next picture. This picture is like, it's not about the rap, because I just realized, like, my cousin in a white jacket, he just got killed. But that was our life, though. Rapping, mob-style hustlers, that was the name of the group. And we would go all over the place rapping about selling drugs and rapping about shooting people. And the crazy thing is, like, we were really living that life. Like, it wasn't just rap. So nothing really ever materialized. I mean, we did a lot of shows and we did a lot of events, like opening up for Lil Wayne and Lil Boosie and all these rappers when they were big, like in their prime, like way back then in their prime. We would always get called up by the promoters because we would bring a lot of people, and promoters want ticket sales and they want people, so that was my life. You can go to the next one. Clubs, drinking, partying. So I went from watching my uncles and watching all the older men that I knew, thinking that they were crazy, thinking that they looked crazy, and like, man, I turned into that man. In fact, I had the house. I had the party house. I had the connect. Everybody would come to my house, and we would be up all night. It was common to see the daylight and to hear the birds chirping and to lay there, honestly, at the end of the night, in the morning, me and my wife, and be sitting there even like crying sometimes. Like, it was fun while everybody was there. And we're partying and we're, making runs to the store, and then they stop selling that too. And then when 7 o'clock in Michigan comes, they start selling alcohol again, and we'd be back at the store. But then after everybody left, we would lay there and we'd be hurting. Like, we didn't know the Lord at this time, but I mean, like, physically hurting, my nose, my face. Like, was like, what are we doing? But then we just kept doing it. Year in and year out, I just kept doing it because I was selling it, so I always had it. You could go to the next one. I was rapping, and this was me. As foolish as I look back now thinking, like, what was I thinking? Like, but money was my God, though. Not only the money, but the cocaine was my God. I didn't know it at the time because I was deceived. I was blinded by the enemy, making fast money, rapping about selling drugs, rapping about, this back in the day because it says MySpace, so that was way back. I'm not no little spring chicken, I'll say that. But that was my life, I got the tattoos on my arm and my neck, and not even realizing though that what I was doing to my kids. So my oldest, who was born when I was 14 and she was 15, this is what he grew up. He grew up watching this. He grew up seeing it, experiencing it, and he grew up and did the same thing. When he got to his teenage years, he started using. He started drinking lean, and he got addicted to these pills, and he started rapping. And then that life just drug him down a path of destruction. I mean, he ended up getting shot when he was 22. He got shot and he had to get his left leg amputated. So like right now he's up in Michigan still. He's fighting, But it's just crazy when we're so stuck as men, as women, as fathers, as mothers. We're so blinded by that blindfold, that deception, that stronghold that the devil has over us, is that I never realized. I thought, well, my mom and my dad divorced when I was probably about 6. My dad he was in prison our whole childhood. He's actually in prison right now doing life. But at this time when I was hustling and doing all this to feed my family, I thought I was doing something right. I'm like, I'm providing for my kids, their birthdays, they're straight. Christmas, they're straight. All the stuff that don't really even matter. But when you're living that life, you think that's what it's about. Like, hey, my dad left. I'm still here. So I looked at it like, at least we're making progress. Not realizing the whole time what I was doing to my son. Not realizing that he would grow up and become addicted too, that he would grow up and catch felonies too, that he would grow up and get his leg amputated because of a shooting. Like, I wasn't thinking about none of that. I was blinded by the money, blinded by the lifestyle, and we thought it was glamorous. You could go ahead and go to the next picture. That's me and my wife. We had opened up for Lil Wayne at this concert up in Flint, Michigan, and it was like, looking back at it now, it was like I felt like I was on top of the world. Like, we're locally famous and we're opening up for all these rappers, but at home, that night, in fact, I still remember, I'm a coke head. Like, at the end of the night, I leave from being on the stage and I leave from everybody patting me on my back, and then I go home and I'm so high off cocaine that I barely even want to talk to anybody, even my own family. Like, my wife would ask me at times, like, I wasn't always open with my use. For the most part, I would lie, She would ask me, you doing something? Nah. Get mad, when someone asks you, are you still doing that? First thing you do is flip it, Like, get mad at her. I would, like, she was trying to, I didn't know it, but it was like, that was love for me. Like, why are you still doing this? You got so much talent. You got so much giftings on the inside of you. And this wasn't about the Lord at this time because, like I said, we weren't raised in the church. It was all carnal gifting. It was all fleshly things, worldly things. She's like, you got so much talent, and why would you waste it? And so I would get high every night, whether we was out partying or just at home. It got so bad to where, like, it started out with friends, started out with my uncle asking me if I wanted some, started out with the partying, the drinks, the beer, the liquor, but then it dwindled down to just a few of us. And then after a few of us, it was just me. And then there was no bar, no club, no partying, no beer, no liquor. It was just me and the cocaine. Like, it got so bad to where, like, I would do it every day. Wake up, do it. Take my kids to school, do it. Take my kids to practice, do it. Like, it got so bad that looking back at it now, I'm thinking like, man. And I didn't like it. I'm not going to sit here and say that I did. Maybe when it was everybody house full and everybody's there together, passing the plate, maybe there was times when my flesh was enjoying it. But as my addiction got worse, I wasn't enjoying it. I remember countless nights laying there and feeling like I was gonna have a heart attack or having anxiety attacks or, just the whole mess. I would be laying there during this particular season in our hometown of Saginaw, Michigan. We had got into this beef with these other families, and my older brother, he had got jumped real bad, and it started this whole war for a couple years where we're shooting, and there's houses getting blew up, and there's cars getting blew up, and I'm picking my kids up from school, and the dudes are shooting up my truck while I literally, broad daylight, just pulled out from picking my kids up. So not only was I addicted, but we had this beef going on, so my mind was everywhere. Like, just paranoia about the cops, paranoia if the house is gonna get shot up. I would have my kids go sleep in the basement. And it's crazy because I remember when I was about 8, the first time our house got shot up as a kid, because again, my uncles got killed and my family had feuds. And I remember the first time I heard gunshots in real life, our house got shot up, and one of my older female cousins had grabbed us and took us boys to the bathroom to get in the tub, like for shelter. And then fast forward all these years, now I'm living this life and I'm telling my kids, let's go downstairs, go downstairs and put on a movie. I wasn't telling them, excuse me, like, I don't want you to get shot. I would be like, no, let's just go down here, get some pizza or something. You guys watch a movie in the basement. I wouldn't let them sleep in their bedroom because I was like, something could happen at any minute. Somebody comes and shoots up the house, and then you could go to the next one. So this is my boy Marcos right here. This is not my oldest. But it's like, that's what I was doing to my kids without even knowing it. Like I was leading them in this lifestyle. And this house in particular, when he was that age, he would sleep with me and my wife in the bed. And I had a gun on the nightstand, big rifle up against the wall. We had a camera in our bedroom window right there so we could watch every car that came by. So at night, I'm high out my mind at night, watching the camera, thinking I'm seeing stuff, thinking I'm hearing stuff, waiting for somebody to come around, and I got the gun right there, and my boy's right there on the bed with us. But I was blinded by what the devil had us in, the deception that he had me in was, no, you're protecting your family. Not realizing, like, man, I'm exposing if anything, I'm hurting my family. I'm thinking in the flesh, I got a gun. I had my friends and family downstairs all night. Like, I would give them Coke. And they would say, go ahead, bro. Like, go to sleep. Like, we're good. Like, we'll stay up and we'll watch the house. Just go ahead, go to sleep. So I would go upstairs. But in my mind, I'm up there thinking like, man, I got my kids in the basement. I remember one night in particular, I got my kids in the basement for shelter, and I got all my people up here with the guns, back door, in the bushes. They used to hide across the street just waiting for the people who we were beefing with to come through to try to catch them. But they're walking around in the house like this, gun out. They're all high off cocaine, and in my head, I'm like, man, what if one of them just accidentally, the gun goes off and my kids are in the basement? Like, these are the things that were going through my head, and I'm high out my mind, and I'm laying in the bed, and I'm like, something in my mind, a voice, right? Because I didn't know the Holy Spirit. Something said, this ain't never going to stop unless you move. You have to physically get your family, pick them up, and move. But Saginaw was all I knew. Like our hometown, we didn't know that was our whole world. Like all my family on my mom's side, my dad's side, down the line, yes, they came from Mexico to San Antonio and then up to Michigan. But when we were born, it was like we didn't know nothing. So I heard this voice, the only way this is going to end is if you physically pick your family up and move. And I was like, am I hearing this right? So I told my wife the next day, I'm like, what do you think about moving? And of course, that was like everybody, kids, family, everybody, like, what? Like, move? Where would you go? Like, everybody looked up to me. The party house, the connect, the drugs. It was just, where would you go? But I remember laying in the bed, and I was like almost like literally going crazy because I got all these dudes in my house, and everybody got guns, and kids are down. It was just a mess, The house is getting shot up. So we started looking. We eventually found a spot 2 hours west of Saginaw, and we moved. We moved over there, and I left the guns. This was in 2010, so this is 16 years ago. I moved from Saginaw, moved my family. They didn't like it. They were mad, like no cousins, no friends. Everybody they knew at school, all the family, we're in this city called Grand Rapids now, and we don't know no one. Like, it was almost like everybody was depressed that first year. But for me, I liked it because no one knew me, no enemies. The cops don't know me. I could take my boy to the park, like stuff that we didn't do. Now most people, that's just every day. You take your kids to the playground, go for a walk, bike ride, but I didn't do that in Saginaw because the life we were living, that just wasn't part of our life. So now we're in Grand Rapids, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling this new sense of freedom, like, man, I could go wherever, and don't got to watch my back. The cops don't know me, this and that. And I could go to the park with my son and my kids, but I was still addicted, though. Like, I left the guns behind, the violence. I never carried a gun to this day. When we left Saginaw, I still, to this day, haven't even touched one. But I was still hustling, though. I was still selling drugs because that was a bigger city. So when we moved to a bigger city, there was more people, more money. So everything just skyrocketed. Like the drug use, the drug dealing, the money, everything increased. But 1 year after we got there, somebody came and prayed for us. It was a couple that we knew from our hometown who had lived in Grand Rapids too. And she called. I remember her calling and saying, hey, can we come by? I'm like, yeah, cool. So they came by, and she took me and my wife in the kitchen. And I still remember, she said, can I pray for y'all? I'm like, yeah, cool. She gets around us, and, we get in this circle, and she starts praying like this and I wouldn't say talking in tongues. I'm saying just calling, anointing, fire, Holy Spirit. Things she was saying, that was like a foreign language to me because I didn't know what she was saying, but she's like, God has a purpose and God has this plan for you. There's just something about you and your family. I see it. And she's speaking with so much, she's praying with so much passion and like so much conviction. She's like, and in my mind, I'm thinking like, girl, you don't even know like what I'm doing. Like for real, in my mind, I'm hearing her and I knew like she meant what she was saying, but I'm like, all right, but I'm up every night sniffing powder. I'm running the streets all day, chasing after some money. But there was something about that prayer, and like one thing after another, like soon after, had started happening, and we started going to church. I remember my mom had called me, and she liked this woman of God named Joyce Myers. My mom was like, she's coming to Grand Rapids, and I want to go see her. Sherry, you know her? And Sherry's like, yeah, she's coming. And we're like, okay, cool. So it was at this big old church, and we went. And when we got there, man, this church was so big. I was like, dang, I didn't even know churches like this were, it looked like almost like a college, right? So we went. They liked it. They heard her speaking, but something like was pulling on me, like to go back. After that day, that event. So we did start going, started praying. Little things, they just started happening. And one night I'm laying in my bed, 2011, this was the year after we moved to Grand Rapids, and I'm high, like it's like 3 a.m, same routine, go to the bathroom, hit a couple bumps, go back to the room, everybody's sleeping, I'm having my own party, I'm high, my heart's thumping, and I'm laying there in my bed, and across the street there's this church, and you could see the steeple, like you could see the cross through our window. And I would look at it every night, laying there in my guilt. We were going to church, but I wasn't like surrendered. Like after that event that my mom wanted us to go to, we were going to church. We started praying before we eat. We started just doing things different, and it was real. But that bondage was real too. Like I really, really, really was under a stronghold that like, yeah, I'll go to church and receive this word, but I still need this money though. Not only do I still need this money, I felt like I still needed that high. I don't know if it was to balance out where our life was and all the trauma that we've been through in Saginaw. I don't know, but that night I was laying there and a face appeared on the wall, like supernaturally. Not like I could look at this brother right here and see every detail of his face, but like if you blur your eyes and you could see the whole shape, face, the shape, everything, and it appeared on the wall, and I'm laying there, and I'm like thinking maybe I'm high or I'm tripping, and it was raining outside, I remember, so there was, in the natural, there was rain trickling down the window to my bedroom, but the face on the wall, just like that cross right there, I'm in my bed, and I'm looking at this face on the wall, and there was nothing but tears coming from the eyes. Now, in the natural, yeah, it was the rain off the window. But I'm like, man, I started crying too. Like for like 3 or 4 hours straight. I remember this was the first time I ever encountered anything supernatural, anything Holy Spirit, anything really, really, really Jesus, really like this is the first time. So I laid there and I cried for hours just looking at it, and it didn't go away. woke up the next day and I told my wife, and I don't know if she believed me. And I mean, because at that time I still was like, she seen me up close. She knew the real me, the angry me, at times the frustrated me, the lying me. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, go back on my word. But when I told her, I said, the only words that came to my mouth, I said, the devil's trying to kill me. I told her this. I said, the devil's trying to kill me because I was doing a lot of coke, like crazy, just like nonstop. Wasn't exercising, wasn't working out. I'm eating crazy. My life was just a mess inside. So that night that happened, you would think, oh, well, I just surrendered. But I didn't. It affected me and it impacted me because I knew it was real. And I felt for the first time in my life, I felt the presence of the Lord. And he was weeping for me. He was weeping for my condition. He was weeping for the man that I was. He was weeping just the way I would lay there. And I was basically like on spiritual life support. It just was bad. Like everything was bad at that time. The money was coming. The money was good, but I wasn't happy. And he knew it. So we kept going to church after that. Things did increase as far as, man, I'm praying. And I would go to church, guest speaker would be on fire, and I would walk out there and I'm like, man, I'm done. I'll go home and get my scale and get everything, throw it in the trash. Just the word impacted me so much to where I was like, I know my family needs me, but then a week later, I'll be back at the store buying a new scale. It was so when Jesus tells the parable of the seeds, when the seeds fall on different types of ground, I believe that every single one of us at some point in our life are every one of those grounds. The weeds, the cares of the world, the rocky ground, I believe that we all are. And so, it was getting choked out. And I knew it. I was like, dang, I just felt so good, but, man, we got bills. No graduating, no GED, no diploma, no work experiences. Really wasn't a job that was going to hire me. And even if there was a job that would hire me, they all drug tested. And as soon as I seen that they wanted a drug test, I wasn't willing to quit doing the powder. So I was like, nah. So I just kept hustling. And this went on for years, this cycle. And when I say thousands of nights, I literally mean thousands of nights. There's 365 days in a year, and I'm talking 21 years straight hustling, straight selling, straight using. And so, fast forward 2017. Leading up to that, we're still going to church here and there. I'm feeling the word. I'm receiving it. We all got baptized. We went to that same church that we went to go see Joyce Meyer at, became members. We all went to go get baptized. They asked if they could record my testimony because they knew about my past from Saginaw, put me up on the big screen, dunked me in the water, everything. But I was still hustling at that time. I was still selling drugs. I was still using. I will say, though, on my end, it was real. It was real because I knew his love was real. So I really meant it when I went. We all went as a family and all one after another, boom, boom, going in the water. But I was stuck though. At least at that time, I was really stuck in that addiction and I couldn't shake it. So that went on for years, going to church, praying. Everybody at my kids' school, man, you guys are some good parents. Because in Saginaw, our last name's Barrera. In Saginaw, they don't say nothing good about the Barreras. I'm talking from past generations to us, to even our kids, because look what happened to my son when he got shot. Back in our hometown, Barreras was frowned upon. Or if we show up at the party, we show up at the quinceañera, we show up at the dance, no. Y'all can't come up in here. We would, everywhere we went, we would go somewhere and they would show us to the door. Unless we stayed long enough for a fight or a shooting to happen. But now we're at this place in Grand Rapids where the teachers and everybody is man, we love the Barreras because our kids were excelling, they're doing so good and they're smart and they're bright. And me and my wife, they're I don't know what you guys are doing, but keep doing it. But in my head, again, beating myself up, man, I'm a cokehead, I'm a drug dealer. They don't even know. The teachers don't know all the praises. Soon as I picked them up from school, though, I'm back running the streets, doing what I was doing. And so that went on for years, just looking like a good dad. And I'm not going to be too hard on myself, but I will say, I'll admit it today, that even though I was there, like there's dads who are in prison, there's dads, there's divorce that happens, there's separation, and I get it. There's one parent homes and there's dads that are absent. But I can say with no shame today, like I was there, but I was an absent parent. Like for real, for real. I took the compliments, but man, I was in the house. I wasn't in prison. I was in the house with my kids, but I was absent though, because I was always high, always worried about the money. And so years went on. Man, 2017, leading up to 2017, my wife would always say, Bobby, like, what are you doing? Like, because I'll be up all night. So if I'm up all night, I'm sleeping through the day. And she would come in the room. She's even got worship music on, and she's cleaning, and she's getting up with the right spirit, excited, motivated about life, and I'm in the bed. She's like, what are you doing? But I ain't tell her. Like, man, I was up all night in the bathroom sniffing powder. I didn't tell her that. But she would come in the room and like, what are you doing? Like, what about the music? And what about this? And what about that? And this happened constantly. And she would always say, God told me if you would just do what's right, our whole life would change. And so I heard her, right? But then it just kept going. Some time would go by. She would say, God told me if you would just do what's right, our whole life would change. Then it got to the point to where maybe some months go by, her demeanor and her tone changed. She'd be like, God told me if you would just do what's right, our whole life would change. Knowing that we're struggling. Yeah, I was hustling, but I wasn't prioritizing because I started using more than I was selling. So we went through evictions. We went through bills. We went through things. You know, it went from being this man or the man, how they like to say in the streets, and I'm providing everybody with, but it just kept going down lower and lower, year by year, year after year. It just got worse and worse. My addiction got worse, and I'm sitting there trying to hold on to something that I know is not working, but it's all I know, and I'm so used to it. Man, I never really shared this, but even got to a point to where I was trying to hold on to just getting high so much, man. We were engaged, right? Because we were never married. All these years, we got 6 kids, now we got grandkids, and we were never married because every time I bought her a ring, I would ask her to marry me, but then like one of my brothers would be in prison because all 3 of my brothers been to prison up there in Michigan for attempt murders and drug charges, all kind of stuff. So it was like, why? I don't want to get married right now because I don't want them to miss it. So it was always an excuse, like, let's get married, but let's wait till he comes home so he don't miss it. Or we would be planning the wedding and she would get pregnant again. So like, well, I mean, not by herself, but we would have another kid. So it was always something that threw it off. But man, at this point when I was really, really, really addicted, 2015, I was pawning her engagement ring. Like I never told nobody that, but I could share it to there's no shame, right? Like when you're free and you're born again, you know who the Son says free is free indeed. But I'm saying she would be with me though. She would be with me. And it got that bad that I wasn't going to pawn her nice diamond ring 2-piece set. Like I was going so I could go grab a little bit of coke, say that I'm gonna flip it, but really it was like, man, I need something for myself right now. Like, yeah, if I sell it, cool. But if I don't, cool. Go back, get it out. A couple weeks later, going back, pawning it. And it's just crazy to think about it because still to this day, I ended up leaving it there. I never, one time everything fell apart, man. Everything fell apart. Her kidneys failed. 2017, she started bleeding when she would go to the bathroom. My addiction's worse. I'm trying to hold on to something that's not working no more. Her kidneys are failing. She don't like doctors. She was one of them at that time in her life. She was one of them people that say, no. Like no pills, no this, no nothing, no treatment, no. Like I'm good. Like I'm all right. And we had baby faith at that time. So when she went to the doctors and they're telling her about her kidneys, we was like, well, let's pray. That was my first thing. I'm like, shoot, let's pray. Like, hey, like, let's pray about it. But it just kept getting worse. She kept bleeding. Couple months went by. She's like, I'm still bleeding. I'm like, then it just got to the point to where she had got rushed to the hospital. And when she got there, they said her blood pressure was like crazy high, or sodium levels, this, that. They named off all type of stuff and was like, you could be dead right now. Doctor said, your kidneys they're basically done. And we didn't even, like, at that time, I didn't know what renal was or what the word meant or nothing. He said, you got end-stage renal disease. And I'm like, what's that? And he's like, your kidneys, like, we can start you on these steroids or whatever. Like, we could start you on this right now, and maybe it'll last a little bit longer. Maybe you won't have to he said, you will eventually have to get dialysis either way. But she was like, no, she wasn't trying to hear it. And then it just got worse to the point to where she ended up on emergency dialysis. And it's crazy because I remember, like, when I was running the streets every night, day in and day, even if it was for $20, I'm getting up in the middle of the night and, hey, I'll be right back. And she would be, like, worried about me, always worried, like, man, what's going to happen, this and that, is he going to get caught, go back? Because we got raided in Saginaw, and I got drug felonies, cocaine charges on my record. So it's like, man, if I get caught again, it's going to be a wrap. So I would come home late at night, and I remember her sometimes in the bed, like, she would be praying. Like, I didn't hear what she was saying, but I knew she wasn't talking to me, so I knew she was talking to God. So I would get into bed, and I got all this guilt. I'm like, man, I'm out here just living reckless. Like, here she is at home praying and talking to God. Meanwhile, I'm over here. I'm talking to the devil. How much money can I get? How high can I get? Is this Coke better than the last time? Where's the plug? Where's the money? Where's the customer? So she's talking to God. I'm talking to the devil, not even realizing it. But I did feel some conviction. I would get in the bed, and I would hear her and be like, man. And then it would come to my mind when she was laying in the hospital. If you would just do what's right. She's like, I remember her saying, like, if you would just change, just quit. And now she's laying there, like, almost dead. And I just was like, God, I'm sorry. Like, I know my struggles. She don't need to tell me. We don't need to tell people. People know when they're wrong. People know when they're addicted. People know when they're hurting their family. I'm not saying that addiction is not a disease, because it is. But it's like, I knew all that time when she told me if you would just do what's right, and I'm doing the exact opposite. I knew. But when she was laying there, like, and me and my family went through a whole movie, literally. When I say the closest thing to it was like The Exorcism, no joke, my family can testify to it. What she went through in that hospital that summer of 2017, literally, that's the closest thing, because it was some spiritual stuff that we were experiencing as a family. But I thank God that little baby faith that we did have, that word that we did have leading up to this particular season, we knew how to fight. We didn't run. Like, we didn't back down. We knew it was demonic. We knew it was the devil. We knew it was Satan. We knew not only her kidneys, but even me, my addiction, everything just holding on. She ends up on emergency dialysis. Man, I stopped hustling. I talked to God. I'm like, God, I'm done. Like, God, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm like, I prayed and I said, Lord, I can't fix her kidneys. All through the years, we got a bill? Don't worry, man, I got it. Rent's due? Man, we'll be all right. Birthday? We'll be all right. School closed? Man, we're good. But this, I'm like, I can't fix this, God. Like, Lord, help us. Like, I know the man that I've been, and I know there's plenty of times that I mistreated her and haven't been the leader that I'm supposed to be. And here we are now. I stopped. Told everybody, man, look, man, my wife's sick. God's doing something in my life. I wasn't ashamed. I told them flat out. They knock at my door late at night, bro, I'm done, man. Like, they're like, for real? Texting me, calling me, man, I'm done, bro. My wife's sick, man. God's doing something in my life. I mean, even start preaching to them. They wasn't hearing it, though, like, you can't do nothing for me then. And I'm not mad at them because that's the relationship that I had with most of these people was like, I was destroying their family. So it's like, how can I be mad at you when you tell me, you're telling me every time that I pull up to your house how you and your wife's arguing, how your wife's about to leave you, how your wife wants you to stop, but here I am like, give me that money. Like they're telling me. So when I told them my wife's sick, God's doing something in my life, and they just dipped out, know how she doing, do y'all need anything? I couldn't be mad because I was sitting here tearing their family up the whole time, taking food off their plate to put it on mine because of the greed. So she's in the hospital. I surrender. I tell the Lord, I'm done. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how we're going to make it. I ain't got no money saved up. I got all the way. I'm talking everything fell apart in every aspect. I'm trying to hold on to the connect. I'm trying to hold on to customers. I'm trying to hold on to this. She gets put on emergency dialysis, and we get evicted. Same day she gets her first treatment, emergency dialysis treatment. The guys from the city or whoever, they come over and they're throwing all our stuff out on the curb. And I'm on the porch and my kids are on the porch and they're looking at me and they're crying. And I'm looking back at them and I'm crying. And after this whole life from Saginaw to raising them to this, to that, to money, to whatever, to rapping, to this, there was nothing I could do. As their dad, there was nothing, literally at that time, but to pray. Like I couldn't do nothing. I just looked at them and I was just, so we're homeless. She's on dialysis 3 times a week, 4 hours a day, sleeping on a basement floor. We weren't in the streets, but we had a mattress on the floor, me, her, my 4 youngest, because at this time now we got 7 kids. We had our last kid, our youngest boy was born in 2015, so we got 7 kids now. And she's coming back from her treatment, boom. No comfort, no space, no bedroom, not her own place. Dialysis, if you know anything about dialysis, it takes a toll. And she couldn't do nothing but come hit that basement floor. I remember me and her sleeping on the side of the basement where the furnace and stuff sat because we wanted the kids to be more comfortable. Like, y'all get the mattress, y'all get the one couch that we're all sharing. We'll go put the blankets on the other side where the furnace and the water heater's at. Just laying there, man. Feeling about as low as I could feel like. And on top of that, it was my oldest son. It was him and his girlfriend and their family. Just so happened, he's not living in Grand Rapids now, but at that time he was, and I know it was for a reason for us to have, because I don't know what we would have did if he wasn't there. But we're laying there on that floor, and she's bandaged up, and dialysis, everything, poking her everywhere, like. But we really grabbed on to Jesus at that time, like. We really, not just, I didn't just say it with my mouth, but I wasn't doing no more drugs. I stopped hustling. Our truck was broke. Like everything that summer that could have been wrong was wrong. And if there was ever a time back in the day, I'm good. Like there was times when we had so much money, I didn't know where to put it. I didn't know where to hide it. I would find money in my pants and my shirt. Like, dang, where'd this come from? Hey, let's go eat. But this time though, if there was ever a time where I should have or could have or probably needed to go out and like, nah, there ain't no way I'm going to let you sleep on the floor. Ain't no way we're about to be homeless. You're on dialysis? Like, nah, but you know what? That prideful man was dead. Like literally, that prideful man didn't exist at this point. I said, Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do. Lord, our truck's parked down the street broke. I can't even get it towed because I ain't got no money. I don't know what we're going to do, God, but I trust you. I trust you, Lord. She would clutch her Bible every treatment. She wouldn't go in there and go to sleep. She said a lot of people would watch TV. A lot of people would go to sleep when they get dialysis. She's reading her Bible every single treatment, whole time. And then I would pick her up. And she'd be like, she'll come out. She'll be weak and crying, but she'd be like, I'm healed. By his stripes, by his stripes, by his, like that was her verse, and that was her lifeline through the whole treatment. She was on dialysis for like 4 years. We were homeless for 2 years, but we really were in a position of not only humility and just me as a man being humbled, like really being humbled, but we got to experience God's perfect love. Like we got to experience Jesus the man, not Jesus the name, not Jesus the religious figure. We got to experience Jesus, like the real Jesus, the one who paid for my addiction, the one who bled and was wounded, the stripes for her kidneys. Like we really at that time, we're laying on the floor day in, day out. It's not easy. But we held on, and I started working, man. I went and got a job through this temp service. So crazy, man. I'm talking straight movie scenes. Like, they put me out like as a machine operator, third shift. And I'm like, man, bro. Like, I'm walking in. I did have some Christian music, though. I'm listening. I got some things. Brothers from Florida sent me an Everyday Man's Bible. And I got some motivation. But I'm walking into this factory every night. Like, what happened to my life? Like, Lord. Like, I don't know nothing about this machine, but they're like, hey, we'll put you on here. Of course, they'll hire me. They pay me what they want. I'm like, bro, I ain't got no tools. They're like, if it breaks, you got to do this, do that. I'm like, man, whatever. So I'm going. Third shift. Kids going to school. My daughter who's with me today, Sierra, she graduated while we were homeless. Like, they were pushing through. They were living out of, they got testimonies. Like, they're like, man, we're in high school. We're living out of trash bag. Don't nobody know. They're going to these good schools too, because, my other daughter who's 2 years younger than her, smart, like just excelling in everything they do. But they're like, don't nobody at school know I'm living out of a trash bag and, this and, like, it was so hard, man, but it was the best thing that could have ever happened to us, though. Like, the way her kidneys failed, the way I failed as a man, the way I failed as a dad, the way I failed as a son of God, the way I ain't going to say I was playing church, but I was double-minded, though. Like, I was in the church, and like I said, I was receiving, but it was just like, man, when I got back home, the reality kicked in, like, man, But at this point in our life, though, it was all so real. The Bible became real. Everything became real. We got married. We were still homeless, and her aunt reached out to her, and she said, well, I got a friend who's ordained or, can marry y'all. When are you guys going to get married? We both looked at each other. We were in the car. I still remember to this day. We looked at each other, and we knew, like, this is God. Because we always had plans for the big wedding, the big party, big dress, the food, family. Of course, we would have all been in the bathroom sniffing pot. I already know how it would have went. Probably would have been a fight. Somebody would have got drunk, whatever. But we always had this vision of this big old wedding, the dress and everything. But at this time, we knew, like, this is God. Like, this ain't us. This ain't about us. This ain't about our desires. This ain't about how the world does weddings. This is God saying, look, I want you, because not only are you joining in to a covenant with me, but I want you to join into that covenant the way that I designed it. And it was super, super humble. Like, we got a hall for my daughter. Like, somebody gave us a good deal when she graduated to have her an open house. So we did it, and we didn't tell nobody. We didn't tell the kids. We didn't tell my mom. We didn't tell nobody that we had already planned. We already got the marriage license, everything. So we did it at her open house, and, man, everybody was in there balling. It was crazy. Like, it was beautiful. You could go to, not the next one, but the one after. Just skip over two if you could. So right there, that's the hall. That's the marriage license. Like, we signed it and everything. Like, it was so humble, though, like, because I remember, since we didn't really have our own space, and that day in particular was kind of hectic. Like, she was in the bathroom at this little hall on the southeast side of Grand Rapids in the hood. She's in the bathroom getting ready. I'm in the men's bathroom with my liners, and I'm shaving and everything, and I'm like, Lord, this ain't how I pictured it, but hey, it was real, though. Like that's the one thing about that day when me and her finally was like, yeah, let's get married. Like, it was nothing like we pictured, but it was so real. It was so spirit filled. It was so humble, but we were grateful though, because I'm like, she's still alive. Like, Lord, you're sustaining her. I'm sober. Like, she's not asking me what I'm doing no more. I'm working. Like, then I even started writing. Like, when I'm working in the factory, I started writing again because I had stopped rapping for some years. That street rap, something inside of me, like, it was destroying my family. My son got shot, got his leg amputated. My brothers are all in prison for attempt murders. Mom's crying. She's crying. Kids worried. It's just a mess. So I did, before I even surrendered my life to the Lord, I gravitated away from that music because I'm like, man, why would we be rapping about everything that got us in? Like, we're rapping about the stuff that has us in this mess. This whole mess that we're in, we're rapping about it. And I told my son, my brothers, all them, I'm like, man, they're shooting videos and they're popping bottles and guns in the videos and everything. I'm like, man, I'm done, bro. Like, I didn't know that was God pulling me away at the time, but I just was like, nah. So anyway, I started writing again. While I was working at the factory at this time, when we're homeless, I heard the Holy Spirit say, like, it's okay now, you can, like, write again. But this time, you're going to be speaking life. You're not going to speak death. You're going to speak life. It's going to be aimed at the same people, but you're just going to go and tell them the truth. Go and tell them the truth. Go and tell them what I'm doing for you. Go and tell them what I did for you. So, man, I'm in there, and I'm third shift. I'm on the machine, and I'm writing these songs. I start recording, and then, next thing you know, like, things just start happening. Like, after a couple years, I never thought I would be on a plane. Like, La Bamba is one of my favorite movies, and for real, no, listen. Hey, as a kid, I still remember when them planes hit each other. For my whole life, I was like, man, I ain't never getting on no plane, like ever, like. But in 2020, some brothers reached out from Texas, and they called me up there, down there, and they flew us down here, and that was the first time I ever got on a plane. And so our life was just changing, like, drastically at the time. But she's still on dialysis. But she ended up getting the call. We got the call one day. I'm almost close to wrapping this up. I'm not sure how we're looking on time. Anybody? Do I got somebody out here? Somebody give me a thumbs up. No. So anyway, like, we're in Texas. She couldn't come because of her dialysis. We're over there praying, me and my daughter, I believe Luke was, I don't know, it was a carload of us in Texas, in San Antonio, and we're listening to this Let It Rain and Eddie James, and we're in there going in, like, everybody's just sobbing, we're bawling, praying for her, praying, because I wasn't scared, but, like, seeing her, you know what I'm saying, every week, all week, like, oh, man. Has to keep going back because she couldn't use the bathroom, and they had to just keep taking it out and cleaning her blood and stuff. So we're in San Antonio and we're praying like crazy, just like going in. I don't know that she's back up in Michigan and she just got done watching this message that was titled "God Surprised Me." She's up there praying to God, like, and she shares this with me after. She's crying and she's a little bit upset. Like, she was honest. She said, God, I've been praying for him. I've been praying for him all these years, for him to be sober, for him to change, for him to walk in his calling, for him to just be the man that I want him to be, God, and now he's doing it, but I can't even be there with him. I'm up here and look at my body and I'm this and that, and she was like, Lord, I want to be there. I want to be with him. I want to experience this. And she just got on watching that message. God surprised me. She's crying out. God surprised me. God surprised me. We're down there. Let it rain. Like, we're same time. We're in San Antonio. She's in Michigan. Man, I come back to the airport. From the airport, we flew back to Michigan on Monday. The very next day, we're sitting in the living room. Phone rings. Sherry, we need you to be to the hospital in an hour. We got a kidney for you. Man, it was just like, after this, she starts telling me about the message that she watched. Then I start telling her, man, we was just in the car last night, like, going in. I'm telling you, whatever you're going through, like for real, our faith. We're not waiting for God to do something that he didn't already do. We're not waiting for Jesus to go already. Like, Jesus already shed his blood. Jesus already went to the cross. I'm saying it's our faith that just, man, we had so much faith at that time. Like, yes, Lord, let it rain. She like, Lord, God surprised me, surprised me. And man, he sure enough, she said, I didn't know he was going to answer that quick. Very next day, they called. And so many people were like, man, I've been on dialysis for 15 years. I've been on dialysis for 20 years. I've been on dialysis for 25 years. And I'm not saying, God is no respecter. We know what the word says. He loves us all. But what he was doing and what he's still doing for us, it was never for us. This is the picture. Go to the one before that. So that's the day right before she was getting her transplant. And I still remember the nurse came in there and she like, oh no, my wife was looking at the room number. Was it 818? Yeah, so she's looking at the room number and she's like, God's telling me to look up 818. What's 818? So she looks up the scripture, I believe, right? I don't want to misspeak. But then she went to the scripture and it's like the suffering that you're going through and nothing compared to so she's reading that and she's in there and she's feeling good. The lady comes in with the, what are they called? The waivers or whatever. We just need you to sign this just in case before you go in surgery, she's like, I'm good. She's like, I'll sign it wherever you want me to sign. Like, cause her faith was just so big at that moment. And this was right when we took this picture was when the lady came in and she's like, man, I'm not worried about nothing. God got me. And so she signed it. Man, she got her transplant. Come here real quick, baby. So she got the transplant. She got the transplant on March 24th, 2021. And initially it started off, come see us every month. Come see us every, this, that. But then it went down to 3 months. Then it went down to 6 months. Then just recently they're like, well, man, you're doing so good. Like, we just need to see you once a year, everything. They're like, we don't know. And we've been praying, and just trusting the Lord. Even her bones and everything, they were like, the medicine and this and that, the prescriptions you're on, it can do this and do that. And then when she went back the last time, they were like, your bones are actually better. They're like, we don't know how. They're like, but they're better. We don't really usually see that. And so anyway, we're just for me, even like I said, man, 2018 was the last time I touched any cocaine. 2018. I haven't sold none. I haven't used none. It's go to the next one. This was me getting baptized in 2018. And I did get baptized before. And listen, man, when don't feel like, oh, I already did it. I'm going to be like a hypocrite or I'm going to be this. Don't let the devil lie to you and tell you that, oh, well, you already went to the altar call before and you didn't change. You already got baptized before and you didn't change. I knew that I've been baptized before. If you want to sit down, you could, baby. I'm sorry. I knew that I had been baptized before, right? But it was just, everything was different though. I really was man, I'm going to leave that behind. I for real, Lord, I'm serious. This is real. So that was that one. And then you could go to the next one. So now, after I started writing, we're homeless for a couple years. She's on the dialysis, but she ends up getting a transplant. Ever since then, I really, 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 really gave God my yes. Not for fame or to be a rapper. I literally was Lord, can you please just give her strength? Lord, give her strength, give me strength. Everybody, my son, he called me, I remember at the beginning, he's like, Dad, man, I'm proud of you. But he let me know, basically, that he had some doubts. He's like, man, just whatever you do, man. Because he knows, our family, especially the men, we like to do our own thing, at least back then. We lie, we go back on our word. He was like, man, please, man, whatever you do, just don't go back. He's not knowing. I'm like, bro, this is real. Like, I'm not, because it got to the point to where my son, my oldest, Bobby Jr., we got so deep into the game that me and him, man, I went from trying to shield him from me smoking weed, shield him from the drugs, to me and him doing it together. Like, we took highway trips together. Like, we went to go pick up drugs together. If I had it and he didn't, I gave it to him. If he had it and I didn't, we were that deep into what we were doing. But I remember him calling me around this time, and he's like, man, Dad, whatever you do. And I said, man, son, listen, go back to what? Like, go back to what, man? We already tasted and seen everything that the world has to offer. The fast money, the drugs, the high, the cars, the jewelry, the fake reputation that I thought I had as a mob-style hustler, opening up for all these big artists. Like, I already tasted all that. Like, there ain't nothing different out there. But just like the word says, when you taste and see that the Lord is good, I told him at this time, I said, you don't know, because he at this time, he's still kind of, he's in the streets. I'm like, man, son, you don't know. There's nothing better than this peace. Nothing better than this joy that I have. And so this picture right here is me and my daughter, because, not only that last picture, like, that was us, just we traveled now. Like, after we surrendered, it's like those smiles right there on me and my wife's face, like, it just, like, this is just our life now. And this ain't what I prayed for, I'll be honest. But his word does say, look, I'll do exceedingly, abundantly, above anything that you can ask, think, or imagine. All I asked was, Lord, give her strength. Lord, heal her. Lord, help me. Keep me strong, Lord, so I could be the man that you call me to be. But ever since I said yes, she said, Bobby, if you would just do what's right, our whole life would change. Man, I never in my life ever planned to be a Christian rapper, a Jesus follower, an evangelist, whatever label you could put on. A servant, a godly husband, a godly father. Like, this was not my plan. But just like his word says, for I, the Lord, know the plans that I have for you. Plans of good, not of evil. Plans to prosper you. Plans to give you a future and a hope. He never said in his word, Bobby, you know the plan. He said, I know the plan. But the only way any of us can truly get to know his plan is we have to surrender. Like, he's not going to make us, but we have to surrender. So I don't know what everybody in here, where your life's at, where your walk's at. I understand. I know we're with the church. So I know there's some Holy Spirit-filled, blood-bought people in here. But I also know there could still be some who's still struggling and don't want to say it. I went to church high off cocaine a couple times. I'm not even going to lie. I did. But God is not going to make us surrender. The only reason why we travel now, yeah, we rap, I rap. My daughter is going to get up here in a minute and share some worship. But our hope and our mission is to encourage our brothers and sisters and let them know, one, trust Jesus, surrender, don't lose hope, keep praying, don't run from the storm. The storm is really, that's just like, I tell people all the time, man, when that perfect storm happens in your life, like, bro, you're so close to God. If you would just take his hand, you're so close to God that thing that you thought was unfixable and that restoration that you think is impossible, that future you think is I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too that. We're just a living testament of just coming from this family, coming from this place, and running from God. It's all real, man. The being sober, like, man, I never, ever in my life, ever since I was 9 years old, was I sober. Like, sober. But it's been over 8 years now. Like, And I'm telling you, just the basic stuff. Man, I could sleep good. The food's good. Whatever. You know, because when you're so caught up in addiction, there was times, plenty of times, they're eating, they're all enjoying themselves, and they're like, you ain't hungry? I'm like, nah. And I'm just secluding myself. And to be even standing here right now talking to people open, that wasn't me. That wasn't me as a kid, and that wasn't me as an addict. I was isolated. There was times when I was so high off the cocaine and my mouth was moving and I couldn't talk, and like I didn't even want to talk to my own kids. Like I would stay in the room like, no, I got to let this go down. Like I don't want to see nobody right now. But Jesus truly, truly, truly came to set us free. It don't have to be cocaine. For you, it could be pills. For you, it could be alcohol. For you, it could be whatever. I don't know. But he knows. And most of all, you know. Like, I'm not here to be like, hey, man, you're stupid. Why are you still doing that? That ain't what she told me. All she said was, look, man, God said if you just do what's right. Like, and that same plan is for every single one of us. Every single one of us can have this freedom and this peace and this joy that he has given me and my family. And now we get to go and go back to the one before that. This was me in my, if he's still there, the picture before that. That's me and my daughter, like, so we get to go and to make it so good on top of that, like God is so good, I get to do it with my daughter. Like we get to go and we get to praise and worship the Lord together. And she remembers though, like she was there. She was there as a kid, the fights, the shootouts, the drunk nights, the uncles looking crazy. Like she experienced it all. Hiding when we were at quinceañeras and people start fighting and shooting and we're like, where's Sierra? Where's Sierra? I remember that night, like, and we come all the way over here and she's way back here on the stage in the corner crying. That was the little girl that, that was what she experienced as a kid. But today, we get to openly praise God and worship God and thank the Lord Jesus because it was only him. Like it was only him. I said yes. I did say yes. But the only way that I died to myself, the only way that I was resurrected, the only way that I came back to life is because of what Jesus did. His life, his death, his burial, his resurrection, that's everything. There ain't nothing better that can happen to a human being on this earth than to be restored, to be forgiven, and receive our salvation and our redemption because of what he did.